We could spend a whole day just talking about this particular body. There is so much to see. The organs inside that are exposed, the muscles that are exposed, the nerves that are exposed, and all of what those do to help us live each and every day. And so this particular part of the exhibition is about the nervous system, about the brain. I mean, the brain does everything, right? I mean, the fact that you and I can see each other, talk to each other, hear each other, walk around, think, and do all of those amazing things that we take for granted are because we have a brain.
Yes.
And we know a lot about the brain, but we probably understand so very little about it. We know that we have a right side of our brain that is sort of the more creative side of our brain. We have a left side of our brain that's the more didactic side of our brain.
Okay.
But they talk together, fortunately, so the creative and the didactic do get along within our heads, and it's just an amazing way that the brain is able to control our thought processes and allow us to do the amazing things that we can do.
Talking about the brain and what you can see obviously through this particular exhibit here, that doesn't look like how you'd imagine the brain. We've all, we all imagine brain to be sort of grey and squishy, and that's what we think. That's how we picture it, and it's interesting to see how it's turned out differently. In
basically, you're not even actually looking at the brain when you're looking at this surface here, because the brain is surrounded by connective tissue membranes that help to protect it, and those membranes are called the meninges. Okay, now you've heard about the meninges because you've heard about meningitis.
Yes.
Which is a very, very powerful disease that affects these membranes that surround the brain. And the reason that meningitis is life-threatening is because as it surrounds the brain, as it's infected, it can infect the brain and damage it as well. So the brain is, in our heads, it's sort of like finger jello.
Okay.
It's kind of soft and squishy.
Okay.
When we actually preserve it, it's hard and easier for us to demonstrate to our visitors. But we have things inside of our head, these membranes and fluid around our brain that protects it if we were to sort of all of a sudden, fall and hit our head against a hard surface. We call that a concussion. The brain actually then comes into contact with the hard bone of our skull. If we really damage it, we call it a contusion, and those can be somewhat of a problem if they impact the way our brain is able to function. So we need to, if we're going to ride our bicycles, we need to wear helmets.
Yep.
Because they protect our brain. If kids ride skateboards or whatever they do, they should wear helmets because if you have a closed head injury, which is an injury to the brain inside of the skull,
Yeah.
they can be very devastating and can cause all kinds of serious problems.